I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder in conjunction with anxiety and post-traumatic stress disorder. I would say mostly I would focus on my borderline personality disorder because that's kind of like the one that really impacts the other two areas. It essentially just means that my emotions are often magnified and intensified, so I feel things and perceive things in maybe not the same way that other people do. I had struggled with anxiety and depression for as long as I can remember. At a young age, I started counseling maybe at 11, was on antidepressants by 12, and it was just something ongoing for years. I just never felt right, and I had a lot of emotional outbursts. I didn't get diagnosed with anything until I think 24, 25. It was a really grueling process for me. I had the same family doctor for years, and he was just not helpful. He often forgot that I was even on antidepressants, and he just kept handing me the pamphlet, like the checklist, like, are you depressed, are you anxious? But there was never any answers, so I just kind of, as I got older, I was fed up with him, didn't like him, never got along with him. He never took anything that I said seriously. So I left, found a different doctor, and she was just fantastic. She set me up with a psychiatrist right away, and it was within a matter of 5 months. I went to the psychiatrist, I was diagnosed, and things just sort of fell into place. But it took years of being with an unhelpful doctor before any of that process actually happened for me. I think the thing that impacts me the most is my connections to other people. I don't feel like I connect easily with others. My relationships are on a very surface level. So when I do have any sort of intimate relationship with someone, any sort of interconnectedness, platonic or romantic, anything, the perceived people that I do hold close to me, if I have any issues with them, if I feel like I'm disappointing them, if I feel like they don't want me around, I get very caught up on that, and I have a hard time. I'm a perpetual people pleaser, so I need things to go smoothly. I need people to see me well, and if I feel like I'm getting stressed out in other aspects of my life, or if I'm overworked, or if I'm not sleeping enough, any of these things, if I feel like I'm letting people down, then I have a really hard time rectifying that, and it just slowly goes off the rails. I guess it would be like when you scrape your knee on the playground when you're a kid, and that area is just so sensitive. You know it's going to heal, but for me, any emotional thing is this giant scrape, and it takes forever to heal, and all of the nerve endings are just exposed all the time, and any little incident while that's exposed, just it hurts so much more, and it lasts so much longer, and everything I feel is just magnified and intensified. It's like having your nerve endings exposed all the time. I see a psychologist. She's fantastic. A lot of mindfulness training. I love Mark Manson's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Great book. Just a lot of coping skills that I've learned over years and years of therapy. A lot of DBT, which is necessary for people with my diagnosis. Just to kind of ground myself, come back to where I need to be. I have a rational brain. I'm very logical. But when you're emotionally driven, it's hard to kind of get back, so it's just a lot of self-talk and finding things to maybe catch my focus. It's stressful. I work a lot, but work is ultimately what keeps me on track because I can't focus on what I'm focusing on. It helps me kind of change the pace to cope with other people and help other people, so I don't have to internalize everything that I'm feeling in that perceived moment. It's dialectical behavioral therapy. It's a lot of just keeping in the now, which is really, really important. You could kind of tie mindfulness into that. It's stopping myself from looking at the like this huge picture and exploding all of my emotions and thoughts everywhere, and just focusing on the moment now. What can I do right now? This is acknowledging what's happening right now. If something's happened, focus on that, acknowledge that it's happened, and only stay in the moment. I think a lot of the times with any sort of mental health issue, that our brains start kind of going to all the other outcomes that could happen. This type of behavioral therapy focuses you and centers you on what you need to do in that moment, and it brings you back to the basics of it all. Is like, what can you do? Acknowledge this is happening, acknowledge your emotions exist, but don't dwell on them. You're not crazy. And your emotions are valid, they exist. They might just be a little bit big in that moment, but you're not wrong for feeling the things that you feel, and you shouldn't try to swallow them down all the time. I guess I just need validation in a lot of cases. When I'm starting to get stressed out, before it kind of bubbles over and turns into a crisis or anything, I will often just kind of seek out other people to ask them a question. I'll be like, if you were in this situation, I use a lot of hypotheticals. If you were in this situation, how would you feel? Because I need to know how regular people feel. Because I always second guess what I'm thinking and feeling, and I want to know if it's right. So I find if I ask somebody else, like, how would you feel in this situation? And if they give me a response that's similar to how I feel, then that validation, like, this is a human emotion. I'm feeling the right thing right now. This is okay. And that for me is a big thing. So often I just need someone to be like, it's okay that you feel that way. It's fine. I just need to be told that, like, it's okay for me to have those emotions. Borderline personality disorder is still in the process of being known about. Doctors don't really have kind of any background about where it comes from. They kind of theorize that it comes from trauma, and a lot of the times we're the punchline, we're the joke, we're the villain in the movie, right? And anybody with a personality disorder, like, I know for the industry that I work in, we have some kids who have some mental health issues and stuff. Because I am functional in everyday society and I seem well adjusted, people don't often know that I have this disorder. And there's a lot of commentary that people will give. They'll be like, oh, can you say personality disorder when a kid's acting out? And it's just like, we're not the joke. And like, what I think and what I feel sounds awful on paper. Like, if you read the diagnosis for BPD, like, it's bad. Like, it looks bad. I sound like a conniving asshole. But if you know me at all, then you know, like, I don't see it as being a disorder. Like, I think, like, my personality is the best part of me. My ability to think and feel deeply is what makes me human. And that's an amazing thing that I have. There's times where, yeah, of course I struggle with it, but this is a gift. And I think anybody who experiences this is, like, almost special in a way, that we can feel so deeply. And if I didn't have this ability, then I don't think that I would be able to connect to other people in any way. This is how I have empathy. This is how I love.